So I've actually finished recording this, well, most of this episode, but I've just started editing, and when I recorded the intro, I messed up what I was going to say. So I re-recorded the intro, but I've just found out that when I re-recorded the intro, the first bit got cut short. So, you're going to see the intro with some masterful splicing. I want to see, can you spot the edit? Hello and welcome, my name is Dr. Wabyll, and I think somebody's been in my base. I've been wandering round. Somebody has been leaving signs. Somebody has been in my base. I don't know who, I don't know why, but somebody has been here leaving signs for me. Aesthetic storage. I assume that means I should put some aesthetic storage down here. I have no idea who's done this. I can't remember what this one says. Lab floor. And it would make for a good lab. So I thought, you know what? Well, let's accept this. We will build what they've asked for, and there's one up here, I think, that I feel would make a good starting point. So, whoever you are, it's time for a water tower. Fortunately, I've got everything I need. Right, I've got to get this back to the base. In the meantime, you guys head over to the lab, where Dr. Wabyll is doing some experiments with farmers. Oh no, I'm at a dead end. So, welcome back to the lab. Here is the first experiment. We've got a few experiments to do today. This is going to be the first. We're going to get one farmer. And then I want to know, how far will they spread their crops? So we've got quite a large field here, hopefully larger than needed. We're going to get a farmer. I'm going to give them 5 stacks of carrots. If I feel like they've run out, I'll give them another 5 stacks of carrots. But then we have a little command block over here. So what this is going to do is, whenever a carrot is planted in this area, for nice easy viewing, it gets turned into a bit of line carpet. So we should see nice and clearly how things are spreading out. And I think that's really all I need to say. So let's find out how big a farm you can have with one farmer and one composter. So I think at this point, based on what we currently have, we can make some assumptions about the final shape. So the farmer is only going to plant crops within a certain area. It just checks around itself every now and then. But I would imagine we can make this thing symmetrical. And we have our maximum range. A nice octagon, just filling in the extra gaps. Now obviously, as I saw, it's going to take a very long time for it to fill out the octagon. So I think for my testing, for the rest of the experiments, which we'll get onto in a bit, if we make a square like that, so it cuts out all the outer areas, it gives us a good working area that we know it can fill. That should do nicely. So I'm going to set up some more experiments, and we will move on to the next test. So next we have the speed test. I want to know how long it takes a farmer to fill up a farm. I've actually gone a little bit smaller than I initially suggested, just because it took them a while to get to the corners. I don't want to be waiting too long, so they're doing 1 water block's worth of fertilized land. So what we have is 16 farms, 16 villagers, all of whom have been given 1 beetroot seed. When I press this button, they will all be released, they'll become farmers, they'll start planting. Once their farm is full, it will be replaced with lime carpet. So then I can see how long it takes each farm to fill up. Take the average, I'll know how long it takes them to plant beetroot seeds. Then I'm going to do the same with carrots. Then I'm going to do the same with potato. Then I'm going to do the same with wheat. So we're going to find out what is a good crop for them to grow. What do they get fast? Yeah, should be interesting. So I am going to get on with things. Enjoy. Well, it took some time. That was 2 days worth of recording to get everything done. But everything is now done. At least for that experiment. There is another experiment to go. We'll talk about that in a moment. But first of all, let's talk about the results. And before we make the results, I want your predictions down in the comments. What do you think was fastest, down to what do you think was slowest? If you want to say why, feel free to say why, but I want to see your predictions down in the comments. Beetroot, carrot, potato, wheat. Which was the fastest to fill up the farm, down to which was the slowest to fill up the farm. So we have the times here. I've got the fastest time for each crop, and then the average time across all 16 farms. Let's get them in place. So, our fastest time, let me just confirm this, was indeed the beetroot, which was not what I was expecting. I was expecting carrots to be fastest. My prediction was carrots first, then potato, then beetroot, then wheat. But it's actually beetroot was fastest by certainly a significant enough difference there. So there's more than 15 minutes between the averages. There's about 15 minutes between these two averages, so I would say that that is also quite significant. Because next was potato, and then carrots, and then we got just over an hour before wheat comes into play. So there we have how long it takes each crop to be planted in a standard 9x9 farm. So there's 80 spaces here. So, what does that mean for the last experiment? Well, we are going to be reusing this setup. I need to change the command blocks below slightly, because what we're now going to do instead is once each farm is filled up, all of the wheat will be replaced by yellow carpet, the carrots by orange carpet, the potatoes by brown carpet, and the beetroot by red carpet. So then what we're going to see is the distribution, which I imagine should end up being very similar to these. So each farmer will be given one crop of each type, and then I'll let them loose and see what happens. It will probably also fill up faster just because they're starting with 4 times as many. So I'm going to make those changes, and then we will conduct the experiment. This experiment went so much better than I expected. Because when you look at it, it looks like it is just completely random. So there are some where there's more orange, there's some where there's more red, there's some where there's more brown. Every farm is vastly different here. I mean, over here, this one, nearly 3/4 of it is potatoes. But then if we go down here, only 5 potatoes. It looks completely like this is completely random. Now, if we go back to our times, we definitely had a kind of a grouping between these three, with then this one being an hour later. So I had a feeling that these three would end up being pretty close, and then that one about half. I can't remember if I said that, but that was what I was thinking. And of course, with science, the reason we're doing 16 different farms is that you want to take an average. Yeah, each farm individually is probably going to be quite random. But what are the overall results? Well, let's have a look. So, on average, there were 23.5 beetroots planted for every 80 spaces. There were 24.5 carrots planted. 22.6875 potatoes planted. And 9.3125 wheat planted. Beetroot, carrots and potatoes fairly grouped together, with wheat about half. It was exactly as I predicted, despite the fact that when I was watching it, I almost didn't bother taking the results. But then I thought, you know what? Even if it is wrong, this is science. Sometimes you do an experiment, it doesn't turn out the way you expect, but you still publish your results. And it worked out perfectly. So I think that is all the experiments we need to do today over in Wab's lab. Let's head back to the base. I seem to have a visitor. Hello? Hello? See? If you build it, they will come. Hello, my friend. Welcome. You're the first survivor. We're going to rebuild. Well, you'll probably want a house of some kind. I'll get to work on that. But thank you for coming. And for everybody else, thank you for watching. If you like the video, please leave a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. My name is Dr. Wabyll, and I will see you all next time. Look at that water tower.